Welcome back to the latest episode of the True North Weddings podcast. This is a very special episode, the first we've ever done. It's actually a live recording of an event that we held called The Last Hustle Before the Bustle. And I wanted to come on with Desi today and just do a brief intro of this episode because it's going to sound a lot different than what you're typically hearing of us recording in the studio, and give you some context for the episode. So this was recorded at an event that we held that Desi produced in the Bagley Building, our home here, the home of Northland Special Events and True North Weddings and our sister companies. That was designed to bring together a community of couples, brides specifically, and vendors in an educational moment, but also just like to be in community and hang out and talk weddings and support each other through wedding planning. So thankfully, we realized this was a great opportunity with our producer, Asher James Creative, to record and actually have this be an episode for the podcast too. So whether people could make it in person or not, they could still enjoy and experience all the valuable information that was shared. So Desi, will you just share a little bit as a preview to this episode about what was the final hustle before the bustle?
Yeah, so the hustle bustle,
What we call
the hustle bustle, it was an event to get brides to come hang out, meet fellow brides, meet us, do some mood board planning, and then we had our panel of industry professionals who will all introduce themselves when we get into the episode, where we pretty much just ask questions about trends, what they see at weddings, how to handle different situations at weddings, and then we kind of opened up the floor to the participants in person to answer any questions that they had in the moment. So it was event to get together, but to also educate brides on how to go about wedding planning from whatever stage they're in. So it was a really great opportunity to do that.
And Desi did a fabulous job moderating the panel. So you're going to hear her voice asking the questions. And it was just a great opportunity to hear from so many people and vendors in the industry that we love working with and respect, sharing their perspectives. And what we realized quickly is that this was an event we wanted to see happening regularly. And so we are working behind the scenes to put together a schedule of hustle bustle events that are going to be coming up, and we'll be launching that schedule soon. So if you're listening to this episode today and you're thinking, oh, I'd love to attend something like that in the future, or I really want to know when it's happening to see if I can participate, we're going to invite you to go to the link below, linked in the show notes, or linked on anywhere you're finding this podcast, and drop us your email so that we can put you on the list to be the first to know when we open the registration for the future Hustle Bustle events. Because part of the True North Weddings growth and what we're working on behind the scenes is building a community that is much larger than just the clients that we can serve on their wedding day. And so these hustle bustle events are going to be a huge part of that, like getting together with like-minded people, going through something that is a unique experience, and surrounded by professionals that can literally make that experience better in every way, more joyful, less stressful, like all the things that True North Weddings like we hold strongly in our values. Like that's what we want to do within our community. So you're going to listen to this episode. It's going to sound a little bit different than what the studio recording is because it was recorded in a large space with a lot of voices. But you're going to hear a lot of really valuable insight from this panel. And if after listening, you think, count me in for next time, I really want to know what they're up to, please definitely head on over to that link and drop us your email so we can stay in touch. Enjoy the episode, and thanks for tuning into another episode of the True North Weddings podcast. Welcome to True North Weddings, the podcast that helps you navigate an authentic path to your wedding day. I'm your host, Mariah McKechnie, and I'm excited to be your guide in finding your true north along the journey of wedding planning. Over the past 15 years, I've collected a wealth of wisdom and experience working with couples to not only plan an incredible wedding day, but also enjoy the process throughout the journey. and thrilled to have this podcast to share this knowledge with you. And on the pod, I'll feature love stories, interview wedding professionals, and give you my honest, unfiltered advice on how to follow your true north straight to the altar and enjoy every last minute of the party. So get ready for bold, beautiful, and inspiring real talk about real weddings and real challenges. Promise me you'll bring an open mind and heart as you listen. Your True North wedding is just ahead. Let's go.
Welcome, everyone. We're glad you're here. To start this, I guess we'll just go around and introduce who we all are and what we do. Sorry. I'm Desi. I'm the brand manager with True North Wedding, so I help our clients find the best wedding planning package for them. I also can do wedding planning myself at your wedding. So that's a little bit of what I do, along with facilitating where our other planners are assigned and the assistants.
Hi, I am Kate Melikar, and I am the wedding sales manager for Odyssey Resorts. Odyssey Resorts has a collection of resorts along the North Shore, starting with Larsemont Cottages, Grants Prairie Lodge, Caribou Highlands, and then we just acquired a new venue in the Brainerd Lakes area called Rutgers Resort.
I am Ellen. I manage the Vault Event Decor rental. So I just tell people, like, anything that you see at a wedding, we can probably help with. That's not flowers anyways. So yeah, a lot of different things. We also do setup and tear down of not only your decor that you rent from us, but also anything that the client provides. So things like card boxes, place cards, all those personal items we can help with as well.
Hello, I'm Nicole. I own and operate Up North Beauty. I do both hair and makeup. And I don't just do brides, I do the bridal party too. I get asked that a lot. So.
I'm Cece. I'm a wedding photographer, and I have a more like documentary approach. So a mix of like classic images, like family portraits, but also those really fun, weird things that happen. I like to capture too.
Candid.
My name is Alyssa. I am the brand manager of Superior Blooms, part of the Northland Special Events family. So I work with Ellen a lot on site for weddings, but obviously anything floral is my expertise.
And I'm Keith from After Dark Entertainment. I'm a wedding DJ, and I play music to get you guys dancing.
He's got the voice.
So we're just kind of all a little familiar with how weddings work. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them. Otherwise, I can ask you guys some questions too on your thoughts as wedding professionals, I guess you can say. Let's see. All right. Alyssa, I'll hit you with one.
Okay, I'm listening.
How soon in advance should you book your florist? And why?
I'm noticing that things are changing a little bit, not that it's my choice. Typically, I say once you have it planned for your day where you kind of know the place and your general colors and things like that typically is when you want to maybe start thinking about booking your flowers because especially certain times of the year, we get booked up pretty quick. That being said, if you go into your floral consults and you don't necessarily know those things, it's not that big of a deal. Typically, I would say a year to 9 months, depending on when you get engaged. I'm an anomaly. So I got engaged and we're planning it in 6 months, for example. So it's not like we're going to turn you away or anything like that. But typically, once you pick those details, is typically when you would want to. I also like to tell people too, coming into a consult and booking your flowers, you don't have to know everything that you want. Things can be worked in. If you don't know flower names, that's okay. That's why we're here to help. So
This could be also for Alyssa, but also open to anyone else who wants to answer. How do I know if I should DIY my flowers and go to Costco with my mom and do them all myself, or book a florist to do my bouquet or boutonniere. Can I do both?
I mean, you can take on whatever projects you want. Something that I normally tell people that are kind of on the fence getting quotes for floral, or trying to decide if they're going to DIY the centerpieces and have their bouquet made, because that's is in the most pictures and that type of thing. I usually tell people, think about what is important to you on your day. And if they say things, especially like I hear a lot of, I want to be present, I want to enjoy the company, I want to have time to dance and just to enjoy my morning also, with my girls before we're completely ready and stuff like that. If any of those things are important to you, something to think about is when you take on things yourself, yes, you may be saving some money, which is great because same, I totally get it. I'm also planning a wedding. So I feel like I can say I actually understand. But you're sacrificing saving that money for your time. And so if you do not have, that extra time built in, it can be difficult the week of. And then also thinking about the day of, are you going to be worried about handing it off to your mom's best friends and whoever's going to be helping, right? Because inevitably you're going to be in the hair and makeup chair for part of the day, and you're going to want to be with your friends and stuff like that. So something to weigh more than saying like do it or don't do it is probably just what's important to you. If you don't mind having your hands in everything all the time and you might be a little less present, that might be the right thing to do. But then on the flip side, you can kind of do a hybrid half and half too and still have the time that you want to enjoy.
I will also hop in on the decor end of things and echo a very similar sentiment. But definitely, obviously on the decor end of things, there's a lot more DIY you can do on the front end before the day of. And usually I will tell clients to like pick your battles, or like best laid plans, and then we can always circle back if we need to. If you get, a month out from the wedding and people are like, oh, I did not do any of those projects. And I'm like, great, our calligrapher can help. Or, we have stuff in inventory. That's cool. So you can always add stuff on. I tell clients like tackle whatever you want. And then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And then day of, very similar to what Alyssa was chatting about. On our end, we are there to assist if needed. Sometimes people will feel like they have friends and family that really want to assist. In those situations, usually I will say, give them a specific table. If you have, Aunt Sally that really wants to do something, thinks that she's not going to have anything to do that day, give her the memory table and be like, this is yours. You got this. And so usually finding a specific project for them to work on is super helpful, in that light.
And adding to that too, I think that sometimes when you're planning a wedding, you can feel pressured to DIY because mom is really good with her flowers at home or does fake flowers at home or anything like that. Or, you feel pressure like, oh, all these people want to help, so it'll be fine and we'll save money and all these things. Make the decision that's best for you in the end, if you, whether you're getting all the flowers, none of the flowers, all the table stuff, not the table stuff, DIY or purchasing it or renting it, all those types of things. Make those decisions that are best for you and your time and your peace, because inevitably you want to enjoy your day, bottom line. All of us here, that's our goal, is to make sure that you get to enjoy your day and you have a great day. So if you DIY, make sure that you have peace about that too. All the same as if you were to book somebody, pick the person that you're going to have peace about being there and taking care of you too.
And then on the venue side of things, just coming from Grand Superior Lodge, for example, if you have a Saturday wedding and say you're going to check in Thursday or Friday and you're bringing your own flowers, we cannot store them for you. We're not allowed to put them in the fridge. So if you have a hot summer day, the flowers might die if you can't properly take care of them or don't know how to properly take care of them. So a positive for going through a florist would be they can come set up for you or bring them to you the day of. So I think that's really important to keep in mind too.
That's great. Awesome. Switching to a little photography side of things. Cece, how do you navigate the not so traditional families for family portraits?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. I tell people, like, I feel like there's a traditional in your brain of what you think like your family should be, but everyone's family is so different. It does not fit the cookie cutter. So I ask couples ahead of time, like, are there any things I should be aware of or things you want to note? So communicating that with your photographer can be really helpful, just so if there's like sensitive relationships that like they're aware and can handle that with ease, and just like know going into it if like certain parents don't talk or if there's strained like sibling relationships, because not all families are like the happy traditional family that you see in like the Incredibles movie or like yeah, so yeah, most aren't. So if your family's traditional, congrats, you've won the lottery. But yeah, going into it, like doing it before the ceremony is also really helpful to have your portraits out of the way. So if there's like tears during the ceremony, you don't have to worry about makeup. And then also that cocktail hour is such an incredible time to be with your guests and spend time with them. They've shown up, they want to be with you, they want to celebrate you, and pulling you away as the photographer can sometimes be really hard, where you're like, I want you to like be loved on by the people that are here. So get your family portraits done ahead of time. You'll be way happier.
Photography. Oh, yes.
I also have a question for Cece. So there's lots of couples that like don't want a huge package of like pictures. So do you offer different types? Just maybe people that want those big moments and that's it?
Yeah, I have found a lot of folks like looking for more budget photography options this year, more than ever. I think the economy is kind of tough. And so I offer like a 6-hour package. And I think that's the perfect, if you're trying to cut costs or you want just like the main moments, like you don't feel like you need getting ready photos or hours of dancing. 6 hours can be like a really nice option to save money and also just get those like big moments highlighted without feeling too rushed. And I also do elopements in the 2 to 6 hour range as well. So if it's a smaller wedding, that's also, you don't often need 8 hours. It depends on really what you want to do.
Oh, are you gonna ask her another question?
Oh, go ahead.
No, I don't have anything to say.
Okay. Okay.
She called it.
I'm going to ask Keith a question now. What would you do in the scenario? The bride and groom have a very specific do not play list, and you have their wedding guests coming up to you requesting these songs time and time again and are offering you money to play these songs. How do you go about that and respectfully decline?
It's on the do not playlist. I don't play it. Sometimes the couple will change their mind later throughout the night because I guess they'll start bugging them about playing the song. But typically, yeah, it's on the do not playlist. And alcohol changes things a little bit for the couple. They get a little more lenient, I should say.
Nicole, how do you feel, or never mind, let me rephrase this. Do you bring assistants with you on when you go and do large parties, or do you just do it all yourself? How do you go about that?
So, my first year doing this by myself, I took on the whole party. And it was very stressful. I learned very quickly that it's just too much stress, that I will not do that anymore. I do a lot of elopements. So if it's just the bride or like bride and mom, it'll just be me. If they're just specifically looking for hair, makeup, I can comfortably do 10 styles within like most timelines. But if there's going to be like 10 hair and makeup, I do have help that will come with me. And I also don't just choose that myself. Like I'll talk to the bride and they'll decide like, do they want to pick that person or do they trust me in picking that person? But I also want them to look at that other artist and make sure that they also fit like their vibes. Hello.
Hello. How do you morning timeline? You know, like as the bride is thinking about those final details, the timeline of the day, all that stuff. How do you know how long each service takes? How long do you typically like per person?
I know how
Catch
much
22,
it takes from myself. So I like to come a half hour to 20 minutes before I start the service, the first service, just to set up because that takes a lot of time. And then I can do hair 20 to 30 minutes, makeup like 30 minutes. But that I'm like a unicorn because like other makeup artists that I work with, especially, they will take like an hour per face. But I think too, all I do is hair and makeup. I still have a cosmetology license, but I'm just like, my niche is just hair and makeup. So I've done it so often that I know the drill. And so I have those down. And the timeline, as much as I would like to like have that, I never ask or I never like put out my own timeline. I work off photographers' timelines. Yes. Because yeah, it just works out better. And I know when they need to be done. I know when they can start. That usually goes by like when the venue will let them in. And I know brides like to go last, but they really should go around first, just so when the photographer does show up, they're done. They can delegate all the like, I don't even know what you call it when you like the detailed shots. Yes. So, so they're not being pulled away or like looking away. A lot of brides can't talk and get their makeup done at the same time. So I like to get them done first.
Pause for a second to see if anyone has any questions regarding hair, makeup, or anything else that we've talked about so far.
Don't be shy. You guys get like your own personal advice.
Yeah.
So
You can ask anything too, even if
Literally
it seems
anything.
the most out-of-pocket question ever. What about, okay, we'll open this one to anyone. How far in advance should I be booking my wedding vendors, and what order should I pick them in? I will say, I think first and foremost, you need to pick a venue. A date and a venue is the most important, and I think from there, it's game on.
I just had a phone call come in for a wedding tomorrow. So you can be really last minute, but I'd recommend. No. I'd recommend booking like 3 months at the latest, at the very latest, but it dwindles your options. So if you're like dead set on having a specific photographer, like I've had people that aren't even engaged reach out and be like, can I have this date? Is it free? So if you're dead set on a vendor, like really just hit them up, see if they're August or July or whatever month you're looking for is. And then 6 to 9 months is pretty standard. Or if it's like your wedding's in the summer, book like around January during our like slow season, we like to call it, as wedding vendors, is a really good time. Don't wait if you really want a specific vendor.
Yeah, Duluth is a destination location, so we're getting people from all over the place, so the earlier the better you book.
On the decor side, obviously I have a set number of humans that work for me. So when those humans run out, I can't send them to your event anymore. So that is kind of a constraint on our end. And then also I have obviously the physical inventory. So for me, it's more about like if there are specific items that you're looking for in terms of rentals, then we should book those sooner rather than later, especially if it's something that's like super unique. We have a lift bridge that we should book that further in advance than like a cylinder, because the cylinders are totally fine. We can get those anywhere. You can get those anywhere. But obviously a more custom item, we would need to plan a little bit further in advance. That said, I have some clients that book like a year out. I have other clients that reach out like 2 weeks out. So it's fancy gamut.
From the planner side of things, I guess it just depends on where you are and what kind of bride you are. You know, if you get engaged and you want to start planning right away, but you don't know what the heck you're doing, you can book a wedding planner then. You get halfway through the planning process and you realize, whew, this is a lot. I don't know if I want to do this anymore. You can book one then. Or if, you know, you feel like you got everything down, but you just don't want to ring it all in or deal with anything the day of the wedding, you can also book one then. So it kind of, wedding planning, I feel like if you're booking a planner, it's very open and kind of just what things you want to take on as far as it goes with planning.
Who's 2025 and 2026 here? 26, raise your hand. 25s for the others. Oh, okay, cool. So I would say too, a lot of times if you are over a year out, if people come for floral or decor, I mean a little bit too, typically I tell them like, yes, let's get something down on paper. You're not married to the first proposal I send you. Therefore, if you get a wild hair and go from white and green for your bouquet to like all the colors of the rainbow, like we're here for it, right? We're your teammate at that point too. So as you're booking a vendor, obviously the sooner the better for a lot of them, especially if there's someone specific you want. But typically things can morph and change just as much as like when you get RSVPs, your table numbers are going to change and stuff like that. So there is some flex in that too. So don't feel like, oh my gosh, this is so final and I'm never going to be able to make any changes. There's some laxity there too. I feel like that sometimes is a pressure for people booking way in advance.
Yeah, I think on the decor and floral side, like we want you to have enough information that we can like put something on paper so that we can give you actual real numbers, but it does not have to be everything and it does not have to be set in stone. Definitely around the pandemic times, we made a lot of changes to a lot of those contracts. Some people were totally changing venues and changing vibes and like full color schemes, let's start over. And that is totally cool. We still are able to do that. And other clients, stuck with it, but we're reducing numbers, stuff like that. So we can always adjust down the line. But in order to actually give you a accurate quote, we do need something to start with. So we can't just be like, I want decor. How much is that going to cost? I'm like, what would you like?
Anything would be great.
This is another open-ended question for everyone. Right now, what is your favorite wedding trend that, if you were getting married, you would want to have in your wedding right now? I think mine right now is probably switching into a reception and party dress because, yes, you may spend a lot of money on that beautiful wedding gown and you can only wear it once, but also you want to let loose a little bit, really get the party on. So that's mine.
I would almost have to second that. I loved my dress, but it was way too big for the end of the night. It was really hard to tote around, and my bustle broke too, and that was kind of annoying. I don't know. Come back to me and let me think on that for a minute.
I am really loving lamps right now on the decor side of things. There are some over there. They're really cute. I just feel like I see so many weddings and I'm like a little over candles myself. So I'm excited. We have some new ones in our inventory, and I'm pumped to start using them this year.
I have seen people getting like the haircuts, and that's like crazy to me that people are doing it, but I also think it's really cool. Or if you don't want to be that drastic, you just change your hairstyle. Like, I think that's awesome, especially if you were kind of going between the two styles and wanting to throw it up when you're dancing. I think that's nice.
It's very nice for the end of the night too.
Yeah.
As someone that did that.
Yep.
I'm obsessed with the use of colors, like the patterned tablecloths over there, textures, or like varying bridesmaids' dresses. Visually, it's just so beautiful with like greenery or the lake or wherever your venue is. The more color, the better.
I love that. I'm going to pick two, one related to floral and one just for fun. Floral, my favorite thing right now is that people are, there's a lot of multicolor, like the wildflower style is super big right now. Literally almost everybody is doing that. But I like people going out of the like roses, peonies, hydrangeas, like the same old same that you see. Don't get me wrong. I love those. They're some of my favorites, but using different flowers and or a different focal color. This year we're seeing like brown tan, or kind of combinations of like orange and purple, or like different things like that that are just unique. And it's because she likes purple and he likes orange or whatever, like you can kind of personalize it that way too. I also was talking about this earlier, but I like the center dance floor. Ellen did that at her wedding, but I've seen it quite a bit more and more lately. And I think that's a really cool way for those people who maybe can't dance or just are too shy and don't want to dance. Like they can still be right up close and it feels a little bit more intimate, and that everybody's involved during that portion of your evening.
Pre-dinner dance party, 20 to 30 minutes of high energy dancing, possibly doing your first dance at that time too, and then going into dinner.
Other one is alternate desserts besides cake, because I have also seen weddings as a more banquet server catering side, and also from the planner side, and sometimes that wedding cake goes to waste, and it's such a shame. And getting to have an intimate cake cutting with your spouse is really nice, and then you get to bring home that little treat to have at home, whether you want to save it or eat it that night later at midnight. But having the alternate desserts like ice cream or donuts or cupcakes, just smaller, is I think really fun too. Anyone have any questions? Gonna pause again.
Say a couple like doesn't know exactly what kind of like decor they want.
Mm-hmm.
Do you how do you go about that?
Yes. Usually what I tell people is that they probably know more than they think they do. Usually my first ask is, do you have a Pinterest board or any inspiration gathered? That usually is a lot more clear than people think that it is. Obviously, if there's like two fully different vibes, then we can chat about that. But usually once I see a Pinterest board, I can kind of look through it and pick out like, I'm seeing a lot of this trending and a lot of this trending. So I'm feeling like how would we feel about this sort of centerpiece or this sort of style? If you are fully starting from scratch, I always tell people to embrace things that they actually like. So what do the two of you like to do together? Who are you as humans? What is part of your story? If, Duluth is really part of your story, let's embrace that and let's make that part of the wedding. Or if, I don't know, you met in a super fun way, let's incorporate that. But kind of choosing parts of your story and then figuring out how to make that into decor, and floral as well, makes a really unique wedding. So those would be my two initial stage tips.
To echo that too, I think sometimes it gets lost in the shuffle of Pinterest and trends and all the things to, where you don't get personal. Yeah. And so thinking about those things and being, we like this and that's what we like for dessert, and so that's what we're going to have. Or what, something as small as that, or even just little details on your table numbers or something like that. A little funny, a little haha, surprise and delight.
I have heard so many people say, usually it's like a mom be like, oh, I've been to tons of weddings and I never remember the centerpiece, so we don't have to spend money on that. And what I would say to that is, if it is actually a personal element, that is what people remember. So
Yes.
If it looks like you and makes people think about you, then that is going to be more memorable and more worth spending money on.
Yeah. And the same goes for floral too. I mean, some people will say, oh, I don't want to spend money on that. It's just going to die. All the things yes, that is in fact the truth. But, you know, let's say, like my grandma was a florist, and heaven forbid she couldn't be at my wedding. But, you know, that would be something that's really sentimental to me. So pick those things, whether it's flowers or whether it's you guys take a bazillion pictures together or whatever, and make that a part of your day. And you won't regret those decisions and putting in a little extra either DIY effort or money towards that in the end, because it just encompasses you and your relationship. Because that's what the day's all about in the end. It's not about, you know, all the hoopla and the parties and the Pinterest perfect type stuff in the end. It's about you and your love story.
Ellen, you just mentioned a topic that I can feel is hard to navigate sometimes as vendors, and also as the couple getting married is potentially an overbearing family member who wants to have a say in wedding decisions. I guess this is an open-ended question. How do us as vendors go about dealing with that, you know, overbearing person that wants those opinions and it to, you know, kind of be their idea, and what exactly happens?
I feel like it all starts from like a place of love. Like I know we're like, oh, but they do like love you and that they care. And so remember that if you're like cringing at all.
On the venue side and planning side, I always just be really straightforward. I always went to the couple is the contract signer. The contract signer makes the decisions for the wedding, and always loop the couple back in. I always hated it when, sorry moms, the mom of the bride would email and like leave the couple out and like loop them back in. And I would just be really strict that the couple has to be involved at all times. The couple signs off at all times, even if the parents are paying for it. And it's just those tough conversations you have to have.
I feel like I've seen this, experienced it a little bit, or you know, maybe both sides of the relationship are not in cahoots. Even, you know, the guy is the spreadsheet holder and the budgeter, or the girl is, and then the guy's dreaming big, or whatever the case. There's always like, you know, a little bit of a push and pull when it comes to planning something big like this, right? And so I always tell people, just goes right back to like what's important to you. And then also it comes from a place of love. So they just want you to have a good day. They want you to have a good time. In the end, it's not usually about them specifically. And so give yourself permission to set boundaries with the people helping you plan, or just say, hey, you know, I really care about A, B, and C detail. I will make the final decisions on these, but I would really love your input on Z, Y, and X. And that's a good way, you know, as you continue to plan, to kind of protect your peace, I think, a little bit too, and not get a barrage of questions from everybody in your family and friends list. I'm speaking personally. But I think that's a good way to kind of divide it and separate it too, and give yourself permission to not think about and talk about the wedding with your significant other every day of the week, because there's other things going on in life and you want to be able to enjoy the time leading up to that too.
I'd echo, yeah, the communication piece is key. I think sometimes as the photographer, I run into family members being really worried about specific shots being taken, and just like making sure those family members are aware that your vendors are supporting you and that you've communicated with them clearly that they'll have your back and that they can trust these people that you've hired. They're experts and they want what's best for you. So.
Great. I feel like I haven't asked Keith a lot of questions. I feel like we need some questions for you. How do you as a DJ pick music for your couples? How do you let them make the playlist? Do you add in a little razzle dazzle here and there? You know, how do you do it? I mean, because some DJs, you know, they make the playlist, or, you know, they let the couple choose, or the couple gives them a few categories of music that they're really into and say, go with it. How do you go about that with your couples?
So for the dance, I like to have them make me a playlist either on Apple or Spotify. I tell them to work together in the car ride or something to figure out the songs that they like to dance to together. Then for ceremony, That's a tough one. I send a lot of recommendations, but they're never chosen, so it's kind of just a patience thing. But yeah, I'm really good at reading the crowd and the audience at the event, so I like to get a playlist from them, about 20 to 30 songs, and then I kind of fill in the gaps.
What do you do if the dance floor is dead? Like if no matter what you play.
I've never had that problem.
Well, good. He has good clients. No, I'm just kidding. What do you do to get the DJ? You're the DJ. What do you do to get the dance floor livened up if it feels a little slow? People aren't biting yet. What's the vibe?
Mostly just switch up the music. Different tempo or different energy feelings and stuff. Slow dance kind of helps with that to get people out on the dance floor.
Do you ever see any trends in ceremony songs that play the same ones over and over again? Like for some reason, for so many weddings, it's the same song that
Twilight.
Oh, that 1,000 years or whatever.
Yeah, there's about 3 or 4 every year that kind of get replayed. I'm not sure where that comes from because this was happening before TikTok even.
So these are the songs I played during my wedding, those videos.
What about the couples that don't want like the clinking and then kissing? Like, how do you deal with that?
Yes. How do you deal with that?
A few weddings I've told people just not to do it. And I try, if they do, I embarrass them a little bit, and that usually shuts everyone else down. It is fun to do interactions with that where people have to do a kiss and then the couple should copy it, or there's other things where you donate money to things and stuff like that. Or
What about with speeches? When someone's trying to take the mic who isn't authorized to give a speech, how do you go about that? Just don't give them the mic?
They usually don't get it from me because I don't give it up. But if they get it from someone else giving a speech and I look at the bride and groom and they look shocked, I'll cut it off.
From the audience as of right now.
Is this on? Okay. I wasn't sure.
Please don't hit my microphone.
I'm going to flip it around. What is the thing that is, I don't want to say keeping you up at night, but with planning so far, what has been the hardest decision and or the hardest detail to figure out? We are going to make you talk. Sorry.
You can still ask a question even if you're not getting married.
How about you? What was like the hardest part? Because you had
Like you just gotta kind of coax it out of them and offer ideas to spark something in them because they know what they want. Like Ellen said, someone knows what they want. So you just have to dig and dig and dig and ask the questions, and then you'll find something that will spark in them, and then it will really get them going.
With timeline is a big piece that I work with a lot of people on. They are often like confused on how they want the order of the day to go or what it will look like. If you hire a planner, they're incredible and they will do that for you. And that's a nice, like they'll work with you on like the logistical side and go really in depth in that. So if you are someone that's really worried about the timeline or just like how things will happen and function, find a planner. They're so good. But piecing together how much time to spend on certain things, I think can be a piece that they really have to think about, like what matters to them. And they already know, but it's like, what do you not want or what matters and what doesn't matter? And kind of the right things will bubble up to the top.
Like with the timeline too, with being indecisive about when you want things. Like a lot of people don't know what they do know, but for something like, should I have a first look or should I not have a first look? That can play into your timeline so much, especially when it comes to photography. And you may think, okay, well, if I do the first look, is my partner going to have the same reaction of me coming down the aisle, or is it not going to be as sentimental? And no matter what, it's going to be sentimental because, me personally, I had a first look and I loved it because we got to have that private moment together and, just hang out. And I was so nervous. Like, I wouldn't think I would be nervous the morning of my wedding, but like, it's my best friend. It's just hanging out. So it did relieve my nerves. And then, walking down the aisle, there was still all of the emotion there because you see them standing there and then you see everyone around you, all the people that you love there, and it's still just as great. And then you get to enjoy a little bit of cocktail hour. But if you don't want that first look, it is also just as great because you can extend your cocktail hour so that you can go have a drink or mingle. There's so many ways to combat the indecisiveness.
I would say too, sometimes it is, if people are being indecisive, the nature of the beast is that like this wedding's gonna happen whether you made a decision or not. So sometimes us as vendors do have to be like, play a little bit of hardball and be like, but I need to, like for Alyssa, like I need to put my floral order in. So like once we do that, then that's what it's gonna be. Like maybe we can, edit a little bit after that point or add on a little thing. But sometimes if someone is like crazy indecisive, we do kind of have to put the foot down and be like, no, I need to know the decisions because otherwise this isn't going to go well. And I think that is a nice thing about having a vendor is like sometimes people do need a little bit of a push into making that decision if they are truly that indecisive.
And I think that there is an art, especially as you're getting closer to the day, of decision fatigue. Yeah. You've made all of these decisions, big decisions, small decisions, things you never even thought you'd have to decide about. And so you get to that point of planning where you have to make those final decisions, and sometimes it can be a lot. So typically for floral, I want to have a final consult, get your timeline so we can deliver at the right time, get the table numbers so we have the right number of centerpieces. About 40 days out, you have most of your RSVPs, most of your timeline is figured out, all those types of things. If, heaven forbid, we need to add something after that, typically I can pull it off. But that's kind of, you have from booking until then to figure it out. But sometimes those little details like, what color do you want the ribbon on your bouquet to be, is like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, we will make that decision for you. Yeah. It's okay, you won't even see it, So sometimes it's okay as a bride, as a person getting married, to say, you got this. For some of those itsy-weetsy details that you're just like, I don't know, man. I've made too many decisions. My brain just cannot. We got your back on that too, because we inevitably want what's best for you. And we have talked to you at that point and understand your vision. So it's okay to also say, help. Give me A or B and I'll pick from that. Or you just decide because you know what I like at this point.
Yeah, find a vendor you can trust. That's probably the most important part on the client side.
I'll echo that. Like, I tell people finding a vendor is kind of like dating. Like, there's a lot of us out here and you want to find one that matches with you. It's like magnetic when you find the right one, and they will fully like embody your vision and who you are. There's like on the vendor side of things, I know there's certain clients that aren't the perfect match with me, and I don't want to like not bring their vision to life by doing things a different way. So it's so like, don't feel bad rejecting vendors. Find the right one. We want to be the perfect match for you. So that's kind of, I don't know, if you take anything from this, find your right vendor match. You'll be so happy. They'll be so happy. It's a big win for everyone.
Well, and a lot of vendors face a lot of rejection, and that's okay because, like Cece said, it's not everyone's a perfect match, and that's why vendors do venue tours or trial runs for hair and makeup, or let you see their warehouse of things and have these initial consultation meetings to make sure you guys click. But because if you don't click, then your wedding day is not going to be as special as it should be. Speaking of hair and makeup a little bit, have you ever had a bride get a trial run and you know exactly what you are going to do on her wedding day, and then come the wedding day or even anywhere in between, she says, no, I don't want to do that anymore. I want something else. How do you go about that if it's ever happened?
It's happened. Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. It's okay. No. And she's laughing because it was one of her friends. But she scheduled her trial for the day of her bridal shower. And normally that's not a bad idea. Like, that's actually a really good idea. But she was like very indecisive. And I did maybe 4 beautiful hairstyles on her. And after the third one, I'm like, what time is your bridal shower? Because she was definitely late. And she's like, well, they can't do anything until I get there. I'm like, oh, they're waiting for you. And then the same bride, another one of her friends I was doing hair for, she tagged along on that trial and did another hairstyle. And then honestly, I think the day of her wedding, it was completely different. It was different. It was totally different. So I'm very patient, and I don't think that's going to happen with every hairstyle that you have if you keep changing it up. But it worked out, and it always works out. It'll be fine.
So maybe this was answered already, but have you ever just
I've been really close to doing that, but I don't want to be mean. So I just, I'm a chameleon, and I'll just adapt to my situation. And I don't let people down. I just go with it.
I think sometimes it's hard though, especially for something aesthetic like hair and makeup, where you can keep seeing on good old Pinterest, and your phone's listening to you and all the things. You keep getting more and more ideas. And so sometimes it's like, you got to cut it off, right? Like, you make your decisions and like get your trial and then, maybe tweak it or something like that. Same thing with floral. Like, there can be some people that just continuously see a new bouquet. And then to the point where we've circled all the way back to the beginning, especially if they're planning far out and they had some other, aesthetic details to figure out after they booked floral. But you also have to set boundaries, kind of like I said, with friends and family, stuff like that. Set boundaries with yourself of like, okay, I might keep seeing shiny new things, but all of them are stuff I really like. And so make that decision, and don't do that to yourself over and over and over again. And just, whatever makes you feel beautiful or, is most personal to you, I guess.
And to the hair and makeup, like, I always, before the trial, I always tell my brides, get on Pinterest or TikTok or whatever, find styles that fit what you look like. Like, don't look at updos of a blonde hair, if you have dark hair, because it's going to look different. Or like if you have blue eyes, try to like find those details that fit your features. And then I feel like you'll be so much happier when you see it on yourself.
Any questions from the audience as of now? No? Yeah. I mean, I feel like we covered a lot. I think we covered a lot of topics and had a pretty good discussion. I'd say now we can mingle. We have some stuff for you to make your dream mood board for your wedding. Get those juices flowing. Otherwise, we're here if you want to ask, be more personal and ask one-on-one questions with any of us. But thank you for listening. You're free to do what you want now.
Let's make a little noise for Desi for hosting this.
Okay, Desi, it was so fun to hear that
Yeah.
panel again and realize like how much valuable information was shared in that short time together. Thank you for moderating
Of
that.
course. It was first time doing it, but I think it went well. I think we were able to help a lot of the brides there, ease their mind of some wedding planning questions that they had and realize that we're here to help. We're all here to help, and that's our main goal at True North, is just to be a guide for anyone at any stage.
Oh, absolutely. I can't wait for future Hustle and Bustle events and for this concept to grow and just become something that is such a just an important part of the experience and to be in community with other brides and couples and vendors that are all living through this very special moment in time with you. So thank you for listening to the episode. We hope that you enjoyed it and you got something very valuable out of it. And again, if you are interested in receiving an invite to any future Hustle Bustle events or anything that True North Weddings is involved in, we'd love for you to go to the link that is in the show notes or wherever you're listening to this podcast and shoot us your email so that we can stay in touch on Hustle and Bustle and anything else that we're up to. And of course, please, if you are able to give us a like and a follow on the podcast, let us know that you're listening, that you appreciate this content because we love doing it. Yeah. We just hope that people are enjoying it as much as we do. So thanks. And we look forward to seeing you in the next episode of the True North Weddings podcast. Thank you for joining me on another episode of the True North Weddings podcast. I hope today's conversation has filled your heart with inspiration and excitement for your journey down the aisle. Remember, love is the compass that guides us all, and I'm here to help you navigate that every step of the way. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platform. And until next time, keep following your true north. And if you need a little bit more help along the way, you can always find me at truenorthweddingsduluth.com. Remember, just by listening to this podcast, you're already pointed in the right direction.